to do is turn into kind of what are some of the solution sets that are working, whether, I think Yvonne mentioned public-private partnerships. We mentioned partnerships between small entrepreneurial companies and larger companies that have access to the customers. We talked about partnerships between venture capital firms and companies who need the capital, given the credit crunch. So I'd like to turn it to that, but before I do that, let me kind of ask for other questions from the audience that you would like the panel to address before we kind of move to solution sets. So questions from the audience? Yes?
I have a question about building materials, and if you're, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, the second person in Paul. If, based on what you were saying, if you are coming up with the least expensive bid and you have materials that are less expensive but might be different, does that encourage anyone to make those changes, both in government or in the private sector?
It would if you were allowed to do that. So the savings has to be in how you did the job, not in what you used. There's always typically a prescriptive spec, especially in government work. They tell you exactly what to do and exactly how to do it. And it's only in the things that how you get there, that's where you can make innovations. If there were design build opportunities where you were allowed to insert other materials, then I think that the opportunities, both for companies that are seeking to enter the market and opportunities to save money for taxpayers, would be much improved. But that's been closed out.
It's interesting. Those of you who, I don't know how many of you were in this session, but the kind of history and evolution of the LEAD program provides some kind of interesting lessons. So it was a way around the codes. The codes will take 20 years to change or longer. And so try to create kind of a market incentive for people to circumvent the codes. Now it's much harder to do in public construction projects, but that's what essentially Bank of America, Battery City, and increasingly now libraries and some municipal buildings, not major infrastructure projects yet. But I think it's again really using different business models to get around some of the barriers that otherwise it would take 20 years to overcome by creating some real market force to encourage the use of innovative solutions, new materials, etc. So I have two sons who, one is LEED certified and one's getting LEED certified in a month. So it's spreading like wildfire, and I think that begins to be, we were talking about, there are a variety of tipping points. When people begin to walk the talk, it's a tipping point. When all of a sudden 40% of architects and builders are embracing LEED as a way to differentiate their structures, it begins to make a difference. So, hopefully there are things different approaches that people are taking that will solve some of these barriers. Other questions? Yes?
Yeah, I wonder, we've heard a lot about that these sustainable methods, technologies need to be profitable, and we can't give up any performance or comfort levels or whatever. And I agree that there is a lot of low-hanging fruits around, but I think I doubt that that's going to be enough to bring us into the future as a sustainable society. I'm wondering, doesn't there need to be more of a bigger picture, and that means more government incentives that are long-run determined, like in Germany, solar and wind energy power is guaranteed by the government for 20 years. We fetch back into net at a certain price, like stuff like that has pushed Germany to be the leading solar power producer. Don't we need something like that goes beyond just low-hanging fruits, essentially?
Vince or somebody?
Yeah, no, I would say, one of the answers that the panel has unearthed here is that, and Paul kind of struck on it, is that these government mandates are important. The best example, a large example of that is renewable portfolio standards. The utilities would not be diving into diversifying their resource supply unless the state governments mandated them to do just that. Unfortunately, to answer your question, I served in government for about 10 years. I worked at state level, federal level, internationally on the regulatory side. And I haven't seen many government mandates spark some of these upstart innovators. The people that do take advantage of the mandates are the larger corporate America type of entities. There are some things coming out now, the stimulus package. I always get asked, what's new in the stimulus package? Well, the answer is really nothing's new. It's just that all these programs out there get super funded, and some of the regulatory barriers to taking advantage of those programs have been reduced. So one thing that's helping, that could help innovators, and I work with folks on, is this new program modeled after the Department of Defense called ARPA-E, A-R-P-A-E. And for those of you interested in applying for that, that's grant money, that's free money. It's for transformative technologies. I imagine, as a matter of fact, David Danielson from our world, General Catalyst, is spearheading that program down on energy. And those are grant monies, and it's competitive, but it's directed for some of these upstart innovators.
Other comments on that?
I'd like to add something to the DeVitos. My company, General SynFuels, is a very small new technology, transformative technology for the hydrocarbon sector. And we are applying to ARPA-E funding. And because of the new initiative in the stimulus package that this administration came forth with, there are not one nor two, but 4 opportunities for us to seek funding from the federal government. And from experience, I can tell you it's a very cumbersome process. But the goal, and that's what keeps us alive with that, is that we will attain free money,
right,
grant money for something that is worthwhile to obtain, such as a company that bringing resource to the world. But it takes really, before the new administration, there was really absolutely no support for companies like ours. So just great times.